Coming up on today's Airborne, Prince William wants to continue flying. CBP is rethinking its GA intercept policy. And Diamond preps its DA62 for launch. Welcome to Airborne on Aero-TV. I'm Ashley Hale. The media in the UK is running all over with stories that Prince William may forgo becoming a full-time royal to pursue a career as an air ambulance pilot with the East Anglican Air Ambulance Company. The company is based near the Prince's home in Norfolk. Last year, the Duke of Cambridge stepped down from his post as a search and rescue pilot with the Royal Air Force in order to take up his royal duties full-time. But multiple media sources in the UK are reporting that he has told his aides that he wants to continue to fly. One aide reported that, quote, "The Duke is fully committed to his foundation and charities, but he feels he has not yet got flying out of his system," end quote. Royal aides have said that as soon as he finishes his transitional year, he will begin flying with the Air Ambulance service in addition to his royal duties. We at ANN have been talking about this for a long time, and now it would appear that the Customs and Border Protection is finally starting to understand that they don't need to search the planes of law-abiding pilots guilty of nothing more than flying cross-country. As more and more pilots were met on the ramp by gun-carrying and sometimes aggressive CBP agents or local law enforcement, the complaints grew louder. Planes are being searched, and pilots and passengers detained or threatened with arrest. Now the CBP says it will try to make amends with the general aviation community. Eddie Young, Deputy Assistant Commissioner of Customs and Border Protection, says that agents are calling police less often and are choosing their targets with more care. Young admitted that sometimes the tactics used, particularly by local law enforcement, could be overly aggressive. He said the agency is trying to do a better job of striking a balance between law enforcement duties and the civil liberties of pilots. Still, it doesn't mean that you won't be tracked, stopped, and searched just because your flight has been profiled by a federal agency. ANN will be watching closely to see if the CBP makes good on its pledge. You're watching Airborne. We'll be right back with more news and our feature of the day.
Redbird Flight Simulations is dedicated to revolutionizing flight training by designing, manufacturing, and delivering affordable and innovative flight training technologies. Each Redbird device is designed to enhance the training experience for pilots of all levels, from student to ATP. Redbird is quickly becoming the industry standard for flight training. Since Redbird introduced its revolutionary FMX in 2007, colleges, universities, and flight training operations around the world have integrated Redbird products into their curriculum. It's time to discover what Redbird can do for you. Join the migration.
Welcome back. If you'd like to be a supporter of Airborne, Aero-TV, our website, or our podcast, drop an email to jim@aero-news.net. Diamond Aircraft has revealed the first look of the DA62 five-place twin, which is similar in appearance to the DA52 prototype airplane the company flew in 2012. The aircraft has been under development by Diamond in Austria for some time. On the Diamond website, the company says its newest twin-engine aircraft is, quote, designed to give enormous freedom of movement and further enhances your travel experience, end quote. Diamond has not yet said what engines will power the DA62, but media reports indicate that the company may use the AE300 incorporated in the original DA52 design, or a new six-cylinder 280 horsepower AE500 diesel engine, which is being developed by Austria Engine. It's Friday at last, and that means it's time for ANN's CEO and Editor-in-Chief to check in with his weekly barnstorming commentary. Before the title EAA AirVenture Oshkosh was created, this annual airplane homebuilders gathering was simply referred to as Oshkosh. That's because EAA founder Paul Poberezny looked at himself as just another backyard airplane builder. Paul is now gone, and this week, Jim's pondering an Oshkosh without Paul. Here's this week's barnstorming.
Thanks, Ashley, and hi, folks. Well, we're less than 60 days to Oshkosh. Oh boy. So much to do here. As you know, we raise the bar every year, and for us that's a big job because we pack an awful lot into our coverage of Oshkosh, the way that we bring all the amazing things that happen there to you around the world. And this year, as always, we're raising the bar, but on top of that, we're participating heavily in the 10th anniversary celebration of X Prize, one of the most momentous events in the aviation arena and personally as well. I'll be introducing my book, Beyond the Blue, on the first day of Oshkosh, and then above and beyond that, we've got a number of events, including Theater in the Woods presentation Tuesday night and other things. At the same time, though, this is going to be our first Oshkosh without Paul Poberezny, and I just don't even know how to encapsulate what that's going to mean for the future. I've known Paul since I was a kid. He was this indelible spirit, a man who understood leadership came first and foremost with knowing people, befriending people, working with people, and butting heads occasionally with people. Paul was the consummate people person. He was very good at that. He had an uncommon vision for what he wanted out of aviation, how aviation could touch people, the kind of people he wanted to bring together under the umbrella of a sport aviation organization that came to be known as EAA. And an event that came to be known first as Oshkosh and the Big O and that thing at Whitman Field, and of course now as AirVenture. But I've got to admit, it's going to be bizarre walking around Oshkosh and not seeing Paul pull up in the little red VW to ask me what's going on lately and what have I heard and what's happening. And I don't know that it'll ever be Oshkosh quite that way again. And that's life. As we grow, our world becomes smaller because the things we love at some point or another pass on. And certainly Paul was somebody we loved and respected and admired. We've suffered a huge loss, but he left us a great deal. He pointed the way to a sport aviation that allowed people all over the world to enjoy flight in innumerable ways. And that's what we've got to celebrate. So Oshkosh this year, what are you going to do to celebrate Paul Poberezny's life and gift? Couple of suggestions. Bring somebody to Oshkosh. Bring somebody that expressed some interest in aviation. Bring your kids. Bring a kid. Bring anybody who's got the potential to step in, look at it, and go, yeah, I want this as a part of my life. Let's rebuild and regrow the sport aviation community. And while we're at Oshkosh, let's look for ways to contribute, to lead, to support good leadership where we find it. Granted, few and far between, but let's look for it. And most important of all, let's participate. Sport aviation is all about the people. As the people of sport aviation, let's make sure our community will grow, flourish, and ultimately celebrate the life of an amazing man, Paul Poberezny. It'll never be the same Oshkosh ever again, but it doesn't mean we can't make Oshkosh grow and live on to the future in the memory of an exceptional aviator. For the Aero-News Network, Airborne and Aero-TV, I'm Jim Campbell.
The Flight Design C4, the four-place GA aircraft currently in development by Flight Design, has seen substantial progress this spring, culminating in announcements during Sun and Fun in Aero Friedrichshafen. The C4 will have the Vision Touch avionics suite installed as standard equipment. The Vision Touch suite is based around the Garmin G3X touch system as primary and multifunction displays. An update from Continental Motors at Aero Friedrichshafen was that the Io360AF 180 horsepower alternate fuels capable engine is progressing towards FAA certification, which is expected in August of this year. The Io360AF will be one of the standard versions available under the engine's FAA type certificate. Work continues with the staff of flight design engineers to complete the design of the conforming C4 with the expectation to achieve certifications early in 2015. A conforming model of an aircraft is one that is used to show compliance to EASA or the FAA. Flight Design America will build a final assembly facility for the C4 in Newport, Vermont. Plans include a new 50,000 square foot assembly hall, along with many other new facilities. You're watching Airborne. We'll be right back after these messages.
ADS-B will be mandatory for most aircraft by 2020 in the United States, but you can benefit from ADS-B today with the Bendix King KT-74 Mode S transponder. The KT-74 meets the global mandates for ADS-B out when attached to a suitable WAAS GPS. Finally, The extraordinary story of the world-changing X Prize space competition is being told and illustrated with hundreds of insider photos in Jim Campbell's colorful new book, Beyond the Blue. Journey with Jim as he flies formation with spaceships, plays in zero gravity, prepares rocket racers, and documents the amazing first decade of the personal space race. Available this summer. Get your advance order in now by checking out www.kindredspirit.com.
Welcome back. The EAA is planning to celebrate the 10-year anniversary of the creation of the Sport Pilot and Light Sport aircraft rules at EAA AirVenture Oshkosh this year. The Sport Pilot rules that became effective in September of 2004 not only created a new marketplace of aircraft, but also an innovative way of certificating aircraft through consensus standards rather than traditional type certification. The Sport Pilot and Light Sport aircraft standards have influenced numerous other aviation regulations and innovations over the past decade. Tim Bogenhagen, EAA's ultralight and light plane community manager, reported that more than 4,000 people have become new sport pilots, and thousands of existing pilots have chosen to fly under the Sport Pilot rules, which allow use of a valid driver's license for medical certification. The EAA will be working with the Light Aircraft Manufacturers Association on the 10th anniversary activities during AirVenture. These activities will include displays, forums, flight demonstrations, and more. SpaceX has completed qualification testings for the Super Draco thruster, an engine that will power the Dragon spacecraft's launch escape system and enable the vehicle to land propulsively rather than by parachute. Each Super Draco produces 6,000 pounds of thrust and can be restarted multiple times if necessary. In addition, the engines are throttle controlled, providing astronauts with precise control and enormous power. 8 Super Draco engines are integrated into the sidewalls of the Dragon spacecraft and will produce up to 120,000 pounds of axial thrust. Even if one engine fails, an escape can still be carried out successfully. The first test of SpaceX's new launch escape system is currently expected to take place later this year. Well, that's our program. Remember to get comprehensive, real-time, 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories at Aero-News.net. Remember, Airborne is streamed 3 times a week and is always online. Join us every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for a new edition. I'm Ashley Hale. Thanks for watching.